Bonjour les gens, bienvenue à Noumea. Welcome to Noumea. We're in New Caledonia today. And we're going to take the hop on, hop off bus. This is where we're going to go. We're going to check out the market, Lemon Beach, Duck Island, where I went last time. We've got different beaches. We're going to go to the wonderful aquarium here. And if we've got time, the museum as well. So lots of stuff to see. And let's go. Alright, bonjour. So we're going to go on our hop on, hop off tour. And before we do it, we've met Liam, who lives here.
Welcome to Noumea.
Thank you. So are you from Noumea?
I'm from Noumea.
Fantastic. It's very nice here. What would you recommend we do if we're here for one day? What would you think the top things to do are?
You can discover Noumea by yourself because look, the weather is not beautiful, but you have to call the sun to come.
Okay. Come on. Alright, that sounds good. We're going to go around and see lots of things.
Yes.
Merci beaucoup. So we're in the terminal at the ferry quay. This is what it looks like. There's lots of different tours that go from here. You can choose different ones: train tours, bus tours, hop on, hop off, varying levels with guides, without guides, with audio guides. There's free Wi-Fi in here and a couple of little tourist shops. Some handicraft market upstairs, so we can get some little bits and pieces. Okay, so the first stop on the hop on, hop off bus, somewhere good to see in the morning, is the market. This is the morning market, so it's only open till 12. Right now it's only 11 and things are already getting packed up, so make sure you come early. And this is where you can see local fruit, local vegetables, some very pretty flowers, and there's also handcrafts, and we'll have a look at all of those. So in the morning market, there's different sections. They're all covered over. There's sections with fruit and vegetables. There's a section with meats and products like that. There's a section with some delicious little pastries, and then there's a section with handcrafts, local crafts in here. We've got homemade jewelry, we've got some clothes, we've got some pareos, some very nice wooden crafts. Lots of nice different things, and right in the middle there's a little coffee shop, very French, Le Buvette du Marché, and you can get a nice little breakfast here, a poisson, a coffee, and some orange juice. Just across from the morning market, we've got the Museum of New Caledonia, the Musée Nouvelle-Calédonie, because Noumea is celebrating 200 years this year, and so they're having special exhibitions about that and about the history in general of the island right here. So if you need to change money in New Caledonia, basically do it before you get here if you can. Do it on the ship, do it at home, or do it in the cruise terminal if they have any money available. We changed ours here in the bank, the local bank called BCI. It's taken half an hour. Yeah, they're not fast, they're not friendly, their rate isn't awesome, and they get charged commission. It's the only place in town, so if you haven't changed money, this is pretty much opposite from where the local market is, the morning market, but if you can, change it before. So just opposite the Museum of New Caledonia, which closes 11:30 to 12:15 for lunch, by the way. It's open in the morning and the afternoon, but closes that time for lunch. Right across the street we've got this. Very nice. It's a Totem Park, and there's different totem poles which have been carved by native people of Noumea in New Caledonia. And we can see there's lots of different statues here that depict different aspects of local life here as it was and as it is now. And you can see around, these ones that picture history, the way the peoples are, and also different aspects of how they live, such as everything is reliant on the sea here. Shown by the gentleman with the oar there. Fishing is a large part of the community in the past and still present day. And also we've got this beautiful totem. Now as you leave the park with the totems, just before crossing the street to where the hop on hop off buses are next to the market, we've got this statue. Come a little closer. Now this is here, this is to celebrate the occasion to commemorate when we had the abolition of slavery in New Caledonia. And this is here to serve as a memory of how people treated their fellow human beings in the time of slavery. And this is here to remind people to never commit such atrocities again. So it's a really good thing to have, to remember what was here, but to look towards the future and to treat people better. So we're at the Aquarium of New Caledonia in Noumea, and this is where we're going to go now and see the animals. Yeah. Now when you come into the aquarium, there's a lot to see. One of the first exhibitions is one of my favorite fish. This is the mud skipper. Now these little babies are interesting because they live on land and in water, more on land than in water, even though they are fish. And they've got special eyes, which have 2 layers, which means that they're one of the very few animals that their eyes are actually designed to see underwater as well as out of the water in the air. One more resident over here is the bald-faced pufferfish, and you get a lot of these in the waters. Most of the fish here you can find in the waters around New Caledonia. We saw some of them in the wild in Totem Island the other day. So we've got a wrasse here as well. There's one with the blacked out on the tail. He's the male in here. The other ones, the smaller ones over here, these are in his group. These are all the females. Because only the largest one is the male, and he will change his colours to show he's the male. And then we've got these black and white ones. These are sailfish. They look like sails on a boat. We've got some tangs. And little humbug fish, little black and white stripy ones down there too. Okay, so we've got some seahorses in here. We've got a pipefish, which is their very close cousin. We've got an adult seahorse just behind the reeds there. There's more pipefish, more seahorses up there. But down here, we've got the best thing of all. It's a baby half-spined seahorse. And he's so tiny. Look next to my finger. That's how big he is. So cute! Alright, so we've got another reef tank with some beautiful reef fish, including one of my favorites, this little guy. He's a Picasso triggerfish. Now he's named a Picasso triggerfish because his patterns don't quite make sense. They're not that even, like Picasso's paintings. Some wonderful angelfish. Okay, so in this tank, let's come a little closer. This is where all the dangerous things are. If you're snorkeling and you see any of these, do not touch. We've got a crocodile flathead fish down here. We've got a demon stinger up here, and the scariest of all, oh, and actually we've got a lionfish over here. Beautiful yet deadly. Now lionfish, every single spine on all of their fins is deadly poisonous. These humans could get very, very sick with these, so don't touch them. Now the scariest ones for humans to touch are these ones here. Now this is a stonefish. It's hard to see him because he looks like a stone. And there's 2 of them in here. Now these ones will just lie around underwater looking like stones. They stay very, very still, and their hunting technique is they sit there until their food comes right up in front of them, then they grab it and eat it. They're not going to attack humans, but the danger with them is you might stand on them because you don't see them. So be very careful. Don't stand on coral, because if you stand on one of these, it's not going to be nice. You will be in hospital for sure, or die. Now one of the rare things that the aquarium here in Noumea has is this section. This is fluorescent corals. There are very few aquariums in the world that have them. I believe this is the first place to have them. And so this shows the bioluminescence that many species of coral give off. So they create their own light at night. Absolutely stunning. So this tank shows how the corals react to light. As it gets dark, they light up. They give off their fluorescence, their bioluminescence, and then it changes back to daylight to show you how they look like normally. There we go. So this is what they look like during the day. As night falls, their own lights come out, like this. So in this tank we've got an undulated moray eel. He's right underneath there. You can see his eyes. He's having a little nap. So we've got a lobster tank showing 3 of the 11 species of lobster that you can find around New Caledonia. In here we've got the red lobster, painted lobster and variegated lobster. With a few little fishes in here, which might be their lunch. So in here we've got the spotted garden eels. And they keep popping in and out. You can play whack and eel with them. That's what Nick said. They're cute. And so we've got spiny starfishes in here, very spiny. And we've got a baby lionfish as well. And here's a large, oh wow, this is huge. Huge starfish. This is the crown of thorns, which is a very large starfish, which is going to be... Now starfish always, their legs, their tentacles always go in groups of 5. So however big they get, they can go from 5, which is the sort of stereotypical one that most people know about, all the way up to the largest ones. You get some with 100 legs or tentacles. And here's the turtle pond outside where they look after the turtles to help people learn about them and rehabilitate them. Beautiful. So this tank is huge and there's a lot in here, including my favorite one here, the zebra shark. We've also got butterfly fish, damselfish, Newcastle triggerfish, sailfish, one of my favorite wrasse, the large wrasse, is the green one here. And there's some parrotfish as well at the back. And when you're out snorkeling, if you ever hear a lot of crunching noise, that's parrotfish. Because what parrotfish do is they eat the sand off the bottom, they crunch it in their teeth, it basically goes through their digestive system and they eat the nourishment that's in there, the little pieces of leftover food and dead skin cells and things from other fish. And then they basically get rid of the rest, so they kind of clean the sand. So parrotfish are a very, very good fish to have in the sea. Here's one just down here. Whoa! We've got a pufferfish hiding in the back here. This is a bald pufferfish. You know, he's a bald one because, well, he's bald. Pufferfish are fantastic because they have a very, very good a defense system, basically, which means that all of their internal organs are deadly poisonous. Now, they are eaten as a delicacy in Japan called fugu, and so it means basically if something eats them, they're not going to survive. They've got a 3-point defense mechanism. The first one is they puff, hence the name pufferfish or blowfish. They puff up and they're turgid like a football would be, and so that puts off a lot of things eating them because it's very difficult to bite in them. A lot of them, not the bald puffer, but the spiny puffers, all have spines all over them which have poison in the tip as well. And then the third and final thing is if they do get eaten, whatever ate them is going to die very shortly after. So it's a good way to stop people wanting to eat you. So next to the pufferfish right now and the butterfly fish above him, there's a small fish that has a black stripe along it with white underneath and bright blue parts at the tails. Now this one is a cleaner wrasse. Cleaner wrasse are absolutely essential to coral reefs because they clean the other animals. You can see what he's doing now. Basically he's biting off the algae, the bacteria, the dead cells off of the other fish. That's what they eat. And in doing so they make all the other fish nice and clean and also free from parasites and disease. And in coral reefs in the wild you will see other fish actually lining up at cleaner wrasse stations where they will actually wait in line to get cleaned by the cleaner wrasse. So it's a very good symbiotic relationship that helps all the fish involved. So in this tank we have baby seahorses. This is fantastic. They're breeding them here, and this is the nursery tank. There's dozens of them in here. It's absolutely beautiful. and they get fed 6 times a day. They get fed larvae and crustaceans. Seahorses have to eat live food. They can't eat anything dead that's already dead. They can't digest it the way their bodies work with the enzymes. So they have to have small larvae put in here 6 times a day from them. And so this is where they look after the babies. And baby seahorses are very hard to look after. It takes a lot of stabilization for the tank and making sure the water is very clean, and feeding them constantly. And they're very small, so they don't always feed, so you have to feed them by hand sometimes to make sure they actually eat, to make sure that the maximum number of them grow. When I worked in an aquarium in Scotland in Deep Sea World years ago, we bred some babies and I got to help look after them, which was absolutely amazing. They are tricky to look after, but they are definitely worth it. They're gorgeous. Now in the big tank we've got my absolute favourite. These are black tip reef sharks. And hopefully we're going to be swimming with these guys soon when we're out in French Polynesia. And this is around the size they get to. They're only about between 1 to 2 meters long, about 4.5 feet to 6 feet long. They're not that big. They're a little bit shy around humans. In the wild, they're not going to attack anybody. And the way shark's mentality works is generally, if you're smaller than it, it thinks it could beat you if it had to in a fight. If you're bigger than it, it will not go anywhere near you. If you're around the same size as it, it will also not go near you. So these guys are 4.5 to 6 feet. They are not going to go near humans. But if you ever do get a bit too close to a shark, their noses are very, very, very sensitive. You can see they have all these tiny pores on them. The noses are more sensitive than human eyes are. So like being poked directly in the eye, if you bat a shark on the nose, it hurts a lot. And so almost any shark, apart from maybe a great white, will swim away if they get too close like that. But they're very friendly, they're curious, they'll come a little bit near you to see what you're doing, but they won't bite. So we've left the aquarium and we've turned further away from the ship. As you come out of the aquarium, turn left, keep walking a while. There's a bunch of restaurants right at the end of the block. This is a place I went to 2 years ago with my good friend Kelly, Le Phare, Palm Beach. We had a really nice, very French Polynesian lunch here. So I'm really excited we found it again and we're gonna go for lunch. So we're about to have the lunch that I'm extremely excited about. And this is the Tahitian salad, it's called. It's their salad of the day today. This is what I had before. It's so good. It's poisson cru, which is raw tuna fish. Now we've got the poisson cru in here. Merci beaucoup. And this is raw tuna marinated in coconut milk. It's amazing. We've got green onions and carrots in there with it. And then we've got various types of tuna, raw tuna. Here we've got the carpaccio of the slithers of raw tuna with little bits of pepper and tomato on it. We've got a little bit of rice here with some carrot salad, and we've also got like a pate of the raw tuna as well. This is going to be amazing. All right, I'm going to taste a piece on camera just to show what I think of it. Here we go. Ça fait fantastique. So we're gonna have dessert now, and we didn't have this last time. It looks amazing. It is a crepe with chestnut puree and cream and French vanilla ice cream, and it looks... I'm gonna taste a little bit.